Okay, welcome. Let's go over the Chapter 6 test review. Okay, there we go. Good, I'm on my pin. All right, so number one, all we're doing is comparing these two fractions to see if they're equivalent or not. Okay, and there's a couple different ways we can do this. I can either multiply this fraction to get it bigger so it's comparable to this fraction. And when I say bigger, I just mean larger numbers. It's actually not going to change the value because remember, I'm going to be multiplying by 1. Or I can divide this side and make this fraction smaller numbers. Again, not change the value because I'm going to divide by 1. Okay, so in order to divide, let's show that way first. In order to divide this one, I have to figure out what will go into 4 and 16. Okay, so to do that, I need to take out the 4 and the 16, and I need to find the factors. So the factors of 4 are 1 and 4 and 2, because 1 times 4 will give me 4, and 2 times 2 will give me 4. And I find the factors of 16, 1 times 16, 2 times 8, 4 times 4, so I don't need to write 4 twice. Alright, and then I find the biggest one they have in common. So there's a 4 here, and there's a 4 here. That's the largest number they have in common. So that tells me that 4 can go into both the numerator and the denominator. Okay, so I'm going to do that now. Let me just delete some of my writing. Okay, so now I have that 4/16, and I'm going to divide it, the top and the bottom, by 4. Because remember, what I'm really doing is dividing by 1, because 4 over 4 equals 1, 3 over 3, 2 over 2. Whenever the numerator and the denominator are the same, that's equivalent to 1 whole. So if I divide 4/16 by 4 over 4, I'm not changing the value of 4/16 because I'm dividing, essentially I'm dividing by 1. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. 16 divided by 4 is 4. So 1/4 is equal to 4/16. So if you had a pizza that was cut into 16 slices, and I said, oh, I want 1/4 of that pizza, I would get 4 of those 16 slices. Okay, so 4/16 is equal to 1/4, and so we need to decide, is 1/4 equal to 1/4 or not equal to 1/4? Well, of course, it's the exact same numbers, exact same fraction, so those two are equal. Okay. Again, I'm going to delete what I have on the screen. If you need to go back, you can. Okay, let's go to 1b now. Again, same thing. We're trying to decide if this fraction is equivalent to this fraction. So this time I'm going to do the I'm going to use multiplication. Since this is these are smaller numbers than these, I'm going to be multiplying. So I'm going to take 3/5, and I'm going to multiply by a fraction that's equivalent to 1. Remember, before we divided by 4 over 4, that was equal to 1. Now I'm going to multiply by a fraction that's equal to 1. Okay, so well, let's start with the numerator, or actually denominator is even easier because I know my 5's really well. I know 5 times 3 is going to give me 15. So if I choose 3 over 3, and once I know what the bottom is, I know what the top has to be, because remember, I can only multiply by 3 over 3, 4 over 4, 5 over 5. So 5 times 3 I know will give me that 15 that I need to make it equal here. But is 3 times 3, that equals 9, not 12. So 3/5 is equal to 9/15. Not 12/15. So those two are not equal. Okay, let me delete what I got. So far so good. I'm going to let you try these two on your own. So I've gone over 2 examples on how to solve these ones. On these 2, you're doing the exact same thing. You can choose to either start with the smaller numbers or the larger numbers. If you start with the larger numbers, divide. If you start with the smaller numbers, multiply. Okay, let's come down here. Number 2. Juan's mother gave him a recipe for trail mix. 3/4 a cup, 1/4 a cup, 2/3 a cup, and 1/2 a cup. Okay. Now again, there's many different ways to solve this problem. Okay. One way, we could change them all to have common denominators. That would be one way. We could also put them on a number line. I'm going to try that strategy. So I'm going to make myself a number line. Okay. I'm going to cut it in half first. So let's say this is 0, and this is 1 whole. So right in between, right in the middle, that's going to be 1/2, or 1/2 is equal to 2/4 is another way to think of it. And then I'm going to break it up into, I notice that I have 2 fractions that have a denominator of 4, so I'm going to break it up again. So I'm going to break this whole thing up into 4 equal parts. Okay, so that's about there and there. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and they should be as close to equal as possible. I know this one's a little big, but as close to equal as possible. So this would be, if we went from here to here, that'd be 1/4. Here we had 2/4 or 1/2. So here would be 3/4. And then here would be 1, or the same thing is 4/4. Again, it's harder for me to write on this computer. You guys will have better handwriting than Mr. Music. Alright, so 3/4 cup of cereal. So the cereal is going to go here, 3/4. I'm going to put a C for cereal. Peanuts, going to go here at 1/4, so I'm going to put a P for peanuts. I don't have thirds, so I'm going to go to the raisins first. And raisins are 1/2 a cup, so that's right here. I'm going to put an R for raisins. So we have peanuts, raisins, and cereal. Now, almonds, 2/3. Okay, so I need to ask myself, is 2/3 more than 1/4? Or is it less than 1/4? Okay. Well, another way we could do this is we could now, let's ignore these lines, and let's look at 0 to 1 whole again. And this time I'm going to break it up into thirds. Go about here and about here. So now you can see I have 1 part. Now it goes from here all the way to here. 2 parts would be here to here, and then 3 parts would be here to here. So now it's broken up into thirds, 3/3. So 1/3, 2/3, 2/3 is going to be right here. And remember, 2/3 is bigger than 1/2, so that makes sense. It's going to be on this side of the half mark, and that's going to be my almonds. So now I just have to look at the letters. The first letter is peanuts, P for peanuts, so I'm going to go 1/4 cup peanuts. I'm going to run out of space here. Raisins, I'm just going to put the R. You have room, you can write it out. And I have my A for almonds, or I could write the fraction. That'd probably be better, huh? Let's write 1/2 here. For almonds, it's going to be 2/3. And the last one, cereal, is 3/4. So C, 3/4. And there you have it. That's one way to do it. Again, there's multiple ways to solve the problem. I'm showing you one way. If you have another way to solve the problem, that's great. Use that way. Okay? There's always more than one way to solve a problem. All right, well, thanks again, and I will see you on the next video.